Well, I can't do any of these video series without talking about one of my favorite Washington Redskins, Gary Clark. And welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg, and this channel is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you have subscribed to the channel. When you do, also hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. Before we get into this video today, please visit our partners here, Mint Mobile. They want to try to save you some money because you know what? Sometimes we have to sacrifice to make a dollar stretch, and they realize this. Look, if your family is anything like mine, you have probably at one point or another have had to make some major sacrifices. Maybe you've had an unexpected medical bill pop up, or your car breaks down. Maybe you're just trying to have some money saved up for your child's education. Well, that is why I'm so intrigued by Mint Mobile, who this video is in partnership with. They offer premium wireless starting at $15 a month. I could get high-speed data and unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network. I could even bring my phone along with my current phone number, contacts. I'm telling you, I am sacrificing absolutely nothing. Everything that you can do with your big-time cell phone service, you can do with Mint Mobile. So how hard is it to switch your service? I switched to Mint Mobile in less than 15 minutes. How did I do it? Well, it was easy. I just used my phone's eSIM card. 15 minutes later, let me tell you, you are up and running. You're making phone calls, you're using data. But Greg, my phone is a little bit older. I don't have one of them eSIM doohickeys. A doohickey. Oh, okay. Well, you don't need an eSIM doohickey. If you don't have an eSIM doohickey, Mint Mobile will send you a physical SIM card for free. That's right, for free. So if you want to save a little money on your wireless without making any sacrifices, why don't you go to my link in the description below. It is trymintmobile.com/maniacs to get started on getting premium wireless service for as low as $15 a month. And this is when you sign up for a 3-month plan. And get this, new customers, if you sign up for a Mint Mobile plan before May 31st, you will get a 6-month subscription to Paramount Essential on Mint Mobile. Visit Mint Mobile today. Link will be in the description below. Now back to the podcast. So, of course, I did an episode earlier on Art Monk, Hall of Famer, but I can't do one on Art Monk and not do one on Gary Clark. I'll probably need to do one on Ricky Sanders as well to finish out the posse. But Gary Clark, Gary Clark is the total opposite of Art Monk, right? Because Gary Clark was the one who, man, he would talk, right? He was the one to get you excited. He was the cheerleader of the three guys, the posse that we called them, right? The wide receiver core of the Washington Redskins in the 1980s and early 90s. He was the one who was the deep threat along with Ricky Sanders. And Gary Clark, he let his emotions show. He had his heart on his sleeve right there, and he would give it his all on the field. He was, as Joe Gibbs would say, he'd play his guts out, right? And he would talk too, like he would tell you about it. Whereas Art Monk, of course, he wouldn't show a whole lot of emotion. I mean, he may what do you call it? Mine just went blank. Golly, come on, Greg. He may slam the football on the in the end zone. Golly, I am off today. Thank goodness. But other than that, that was about it for me. Do high fives and stuff. But Gary Clark, man, I mean, he would dance, he'd do all that stuff. Gary Clark, he was he definitely would show out. He definitely would, but he he was a Washington Redskin through and through. Fantastic player, got you excited, and big time player for the Redskins. And he was one of those steals from the USFL. Um, and he was a lifelong Virginian. He was born in Radford, Virginia, not too far from where old Greg was born either. Greg was born in Martinsville. Radford is just right up the road from Martinsville, so he's a hometown guy for sure. Um, of course, he played for the Redskins um, between '85 and 1992, and then of course he went on to play for the Arizona Cardinals for a couple of seasons there. It was really hard to see him play for Arizona. Really was. Hated it. I wanted him to finish out his career with Washington. He went on to play in Miami for a year, and of course that was it. But I really wanted him to finish his career as a Redskin. But of course, he played his college with James Madison. So he went up to Pulaski County High School, James Madison as his college. And of course, like I said, he went into the USFL for his professional career before heading to Washington. So he was always kind of in the area, thereabouts, whether if it was Radford, James Madison, or Washington, the DMV area. So he has always been a DMV man until he went to Arizona and then Miami for a year. But Clark was selected by the Washington Redskins second round of the 1984 NFL supplemental draft of the USFL and the CFL players. In '85, he signed with the Redskins and had a superb rookie season, recording 72 receptions for 926 yards and 5 touchdowns. Clark quickly established himself as one of the top receivers in the NFL. He followed his superb rookie season in '86 with the Pro Bowl year, catching 74 passes for 1,265 yards and 7 touchdowns. Clark set a Redskin record for receiving yards and a game during a Monday Night NFL contest with the New York Giants. He caught 11 passes for 241 yards and a touchdown. The record still stands today as the most receiving yards in a non-strike game. Anthony Allen surpassed Clark's tally during a '87 strike season. The Redskins went on to finish with a 12-4 record and defeated the reigning Super Bowl champion Chicago Bears 27-13 in a divisional playoff game, but lost to the Giants in the NFC Championship game 17-0. I remember that. In '87, Clark had a Pro Bowl year, catching 56 passes for a little over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. He achieved these numbers in only 12 games as the player strike shortened the season by 1 game and replacements played 3 games. No Redskins player crossed the picket line, and the replacements went 3-0. Clark was only one of the 4 NFL receivers to surpass 1,000 yards. By this time, he had caught the eye of CBS commentator John Madden. Clark's toughness, big play ability, and the willingness to block made him a regular on the All-Madden team during his playing career. The Redskins went on to finish 11-4, winning the NFC East crown in the playoffs. The Redskins defeated the Chicago Bears divisional playoff game for the second year in a row, and Clark caught 3 passes for 57 yards and a touchdown in the NFC Championship game against the Vikings. And of course, Clark caught 3 passes for 55 yards and a touchdown while rushing for 25 yards in Washington's 42-10 rout of the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. Clark's numbers dropped in '88. Of course, all numbers kind of dropped in '88. That was a rough year. In '90, Clark had another Pro Bowl year, and the Redskins made the playoffs. I don't remember the Redskins making the playoffs in... Oh, yeah, I do remember. I was thinking of the '89 year, but '90, yes. He caught 75 yards. Caught 75 passes for a little over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. In '91, Clark and the Redskins toured through the NFL. That was a huge year for the Redskins. Caught 70 passes for over 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. He was huge that year. Clark, Monk, and Sanders gave the Redskins one of the best receiving corps posse during the NFL during the late '80s and early '90s. They were known as the posse. After '95, Clark retired. Um, in his 11 NFL seasons, he caught 699 passes for nearly 11,000 yards, 65 touchdowns, while rushing for 54 yards and gaining 62 yards on 9 punt returns. He also had 2,700-yard games wearing the Redskins uniform. Clark was a four-time Pro Bowl selection, 86, 87, 90, 91. He was also a three-time All-Pro selection. He led his team in receiving 7 times, 86, 87, 89, 92, 94. And he won 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl 22 and 26 during his NFL career. So a huge addition to the Redskins during the mid '80s. Clark, basically, you would consider him our number one receiver. Um, Always considered him and Art Monk 1A, 1B. Of course, Monk went on to be a Hall of Famer. Really, would you consider Gary Clark? Should he be in the Hall of Fame? I think so. I don't know why Gary Clark is not in the Hall of Fame, but he's not. He is not in the Hall of Fame, but he has won 2 Super Bowls with the Washington Redskins, and he's been on the All Madden team. He's been in he's been a Pro Bowler numerous times. I mean, honestly, he should be a Hall of Famer in my mind. He's got the numbers. I feel like. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know that I'm a homer in this, but overall, I mean, why not? Why not? In my mind, Gary Clark is a Hall of Famer, and I know it took a while to get Art Monk in there. And there's still hope for Gary Clark in my mind. But I don't even think he's been nominated, but he should be. But then again, you got guys like Joe Jacoby, who never, they get nominated, but they never get in, and it's a crying shame. But Gary Clark, I mean, I just, I just remember so many huge games he's had. He was a very explosive receiver. Um, you know, Again, he's your average height player. I mean, he's kind of both him and Daryl Green. They're about the same size. He's a little bit skinnier actually than Daryl Green. Um, he's same height as Daryl Green, about 175 pounds. So, you know, wasn't wasn't a huge guy. Not like today's standards of these wide receivers being these huge guys. It seems like, um, but he could play some ball, and man, I mean, he was tough too. He was very tough. Um, didn't you know wasn't scared to go in through the middle to take you know some of those shots in the middle as well. But um, and he could work out of some of those. I remember, I think it was against the Giants. It was like one of those 4 o'clock games. It was at the beginning of the game. Um, he catches the pass and he kind of just slips through the tackle and just runs runs free to the end zone. And it was like one of those tackles, like sure thing, they're going to put him down, and they don't. And so he was a slippery guy. um, but he could talk too. I mean, he would talk, but he would back it up. Now he wasn't the talker like Steve Smith from the Panthers. I mean, now that guy, you know, he would talk. He'd just about get into a fight as well. But he would talk. Gary Clark was a talker as well. Um, but he would get excited, like he would get pumped up, and Art Monk was cool, calm, and collected. Gary Clark would he was excited, and then Ricky Sanders was excited too, but Ricky Sanders just like he was just happy to be there, right? I mean, you know, the posse they all had like different personalities, and that's what I liked about them. Gary Clark, he's pumped up. He's ready to like go through a wall. Art Monk is the cool, calm guy. He's just going out there getting the job done. Then Ricky Sanders, he's just happy. He's happy to just be out there playing. So that was the posse for you. But yeah, Gary Clark should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm going to say it now. You call me a homer all you want, but it's true. It's true. I'll die on that hill. Gary Clark Hall of Fame. We should get a petition started. I think it's a crying shame that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it, folks. Gary Clark. If you have any stories that you remember about Gary Clark, share them in the comments. Would love to hear them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this episode. With that said, we will see you in the next one.